Okay. I just saw that I've gone live. I just saw the thing that said new government regulation in Australia will put the YouTube that you know at risk. Look, I understand lots of things are going on. Carnival Cruises was put to ransom. Yeah, I go to bed and wake up thinking about this lotto win, but not just because of the funds, but because I wasn't listened to, and I thought I was going to cry, but I'm probably over it. This time last week, I was going to the spiritual center to do a meditation because it helps me. On the Thursday, I was going, and I was fairly excited about going to community legal aid, even though at the back of my mind I knew that they didn't do things such as litigation, but it's good to get some advice. And that advice, as I've mentioned, is that I can sue Lotto, but I really need a good solicitor because if I write, you have to go to the Supreme Court, and if I write something that even some legal people um, couldn't write that good and get thrown out of court, it'll just get thrown out of court. So at this stage, what I really want is, it, in terms of getting funds, it seems to be, although closer, further and further away, because the last solicitor said to me, there was a young guy, and he didn't even know when the statute of limitation ended. So although he was sort of negative at first, but he took the case on, and he did have to ask the partners or the boss if he could do this. Under his knowledge, and he said he even talked to a barrister that, or put it past a barrister, that, I didn't have anything to place me in the store. He was a bit negative on my witnesses. He was probably just trying to suss me out. Like at first, my Erica, for example, said that she remembered me in the store. But I can imagine, because I know on Friday after I'd met him, he'd gone on Facebook with her, and by Saturday he'd emailed the other witness. And the other witness said to me that they can't really do any more than what they've done. I mean, yeah, there's things to be got, but it's further and further away from the time. Like, as in, they had a credit card statement, but the time is further away. When I met that witness, it was 4 years later. But I mean, in saying that, if it were a murder investigation and records have to be kept for 7 years, and I always hark on that, unfortunately, but the records and the shop ledger are meant to be kept, so those things are there, but nobody wants to really pull them out in order for me to prove my lotto win, which I was going to share with everyone anyway. So so I probably would have ended up with nothing anyway that way. Okay, but it's important for me to prove that I was close to the mark morally and for my mental health. Anyway, Erica also backed down. Look, I do recall that day when the two ladies were in the store that I had never met before. I recall them using a card, but Erica was involved, well, the father of her children, and she was married, but he's now incarcerated. So for her to get records, it's quite hard. But she did back down when she talked to that solicitor because he said that she said that, I know this is hearsay now, that she bought lotto tickets at that store, but she didn't remember me and she didn't remember buying one that day. So, he really teased the hell out of these people. And then the feedback to me was that there's really no chance. But to me, like my sister and I saved my mum from having an amputation when they'd wrongly put it on a hospital record. So, and we had to run around to do that because my poor mum had to wait days before she went into surgery, and she just wanted it over and done with at this point. And it involved toes, all right, like. She was to have one done, but if the other one was not good, they would take the other one. But they just marked two, and I said, no, that's wrong, Mum. Even the doctor, I spoke to the doctor, and it is not always a doctor in a public hospital or in private for that matter that will do the operation. And when we got down to the reception of the theatre, which you don't normally go to, it's only patients and medical staff that go there. We spoke to a doctor and he lifted up the sheet off Mum and said, no, that toe's fine, he's not going to take it off. So he crossed the two out and put one. So, you know, albeit I'm old enough to be the solicitor from yesterday's mum. If it was his mum that had bought the lotto, I just wonder if he would have fought for her like I'd fought for my mum. And I am going to fight for myself. I really want, there's such a thing, as I've mentioned before, called a surprise. And I want Lotto to finally disclose what the details of their winning ticket was because it is very important for me. Even if I don't get the win, at least I know it was. I mean, I know it was mine, but it is important for me to, because of all the hard work that I've done, for Lotto to answer for, I would say, mistreatment of me because I was led down a big path, even with the Justice Department. And they make you believe they're investigating for you, but they're not. They're only making sure that Lotto covered their tracks properly. So they're in cahoots with each other, and they probably know that I don't have much of a chance to get this. And, like, probably time is now on their side, but I'm hoping that as it gets closer, and this would be a miracle, that the company called The Lot actually have a heart and start to realise that I haven't manifested the witnesses. I have, they're real people. Although the solicitor said I can make them up, I haven't made them up. And he referred to the place, or the case of Robert Clements, that was a New South Wales case who was unsuccessful. And he likened me to that guy. Fair enough, but he should have likened me to the other guy that won the 23.2 million that was successful. So, and I have met people related to that case thereof, and I could have had more information in order to help myself, but I didn't because I wanted it to come from the main person, not just his friends give me his phone number because I never asked for it. And anyway, that's another story. So yeah, what I have to fight for is I'm still going to try and see if I can get a pro bono solicitor to help me, but there may not be money involved, but for my peace of mind, and unfortunately in life, there's not really solicitors that will help like that. Like it's not a public legal system like it is a public health system at the moment. So and it never will be because solicitors charge so much money, and that's why they have such nice offices and nice artworks in there. Anyway, ironic because I like to create artwork myself, and I tend to judge the solicitor's office by the artwork. Anyway, it's just a common knowledge that legal things cost money, as in, like car registration or even to buy a license. It's about $100 a year just for you to have a card to show that you can drive. Anyway, so that's a lot of money uh, being generated there. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go to the spiritual center and do a meditation soon. And yeah, from last week to going to the community legal to going to the walk around find a solicitor on Friday, your hopes get up high. And in the back of my mind, I know it always crashes. So it's the second time that I've got a solicitor. The first time they said, yeah, I'll do it for fun. And then they realised how much paperwork I had, and they said they just couldn't do it. And this one said the excuses were the statute of limitations always already ended, which it hadn't. He referred to a case that was unsuccessful when there has been a successful one, and he pretty much referred to my witnesses as people that I just made up when they were very real people, and even questioned when I said one had represented Australia in the sporting field, and he actually was more attentive then. He said, "Does that make a difference?" I said, "Yeah, it does." Just as in that you have a solicitor, which solicitor means knowledgeable person who can mediate and means money. If you have one of those, it means business. If you don't, um, you're on your own. But I'm sure if I put my case to a jury, which I don't know if this will happen, um, a jury would be on my side. But there's probably lots of people in my position for different things that don't have, or are not able to seek legal help. At least I know how to read between the lines, and I know that the Justice Department aren't what they're made out to be, and the lot as a company aren't as giving it as their advertisements would tell you. Anyway, I feel sorry for the people that have been in my position, and albeit, oh, okay, I'll tell you. When I woke up this morning, I found this health and fitness magazine saying that health is important, and I found some pink glitter, and then I found a towel, and there was a bit of glass on a tea towel, and normally I wouldn't wash those things together, but I'm very sensitive, you see, so I did that, and I suppose it's nearly spring and time for spring cleaning, but I still got 5 months and 1 week to go with this lotto, so I'm going to fight till the end, and in the end, I will write a book, and each solicitor visit will be a chapter. If anyone can bother to read, I'm sure someone in my situation would bother to read it. So perhaps it's not many, but it's important for me to do this in life. Thank you, and be well, everyone. My poor sister's not so well at the moment, so yeah, I'll pray for her.